What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another James Clash episode. Today we are talking everything ores and where I think you should probably sit in trophies in order to maximize your ores and also still get a decent amount of loot. But let's just go right into it today. And I've done some running of some numbers per se. But as we know, hero equipment is probably the largest bottleneck in the game right now. And my first recommendation is going to be, hey, all the hero equipments, they're really cool, right? We want to try them all. But at the same time, if we want to maximize the value we're receiving from our heroes, you should probably just focus on just a couple to max out or get to a specific level. And in a little bit, I'm going to talk about that specific level you might want to stop some of your hero equipment at. But first things first, what are the hero equipments that I think, well, you should upgrade right away? And I think you can see right here on my screen already, I've upgraded the Eternal Tome to max. I think that's S tier. I think the Haste File is S tier. Giant Gauntlet S tier. Really, personally, it's just any of the equipment pieces that in your mind, with your specific attack strategy, you don't see going anywhere anytime soon, even if they introduce a new equipment, because frankly, it seems like every single month there's going to be a new equipment piece coming out. So frankly, first, don't upgrade all of them, right? We don't have enough resources to do that unless you are just dropping a lot of cash. So that's what I've done here. As you can see, I have focused on one hero equipment mainly from every single hero. The Eternal Tome for the Warden, Haste File for the Royal Champion. I am going to focus on the Invisibility Veil for the Queen, and then the Giant Gauntlet for the King. And each of those I'm going to bring up to max level. And if you can see, what is the other level that I'm leaving everything else at? It is 15. And why 15? Well, I've found that, for example, if you take a common equipment to level 15, it's going to cost you 18,340 shiny ores and 1,320 glowy ores, and you're getting pretty much all of the main boosts. But if you were to bump that up to 18, you are incurring an additional 9,000 shiny ores that you have to spend just for 3 levels, and an additional 600 glowy ores. So that number jumps up to 26,140 for shiny ores to 18, 1,920 for glowy ores. And that's, well, frankly, 9,000 other ores that you can pump into some of these other resources and get them up to level 15, which, well, I find is fairly balanced, and you're not wasting, per se, that many resources on the back end. So that's where I would leave all of your abilities or upgrades that you're not quite certain at where you want to upgrade next. But after you get them all to 15, hey, I would say go start upgrading those ones where I talked about already. 18, 18, 21. I'm working on the Giant Gauntlet, trying to get it to 27 as fast as possible. And then, frankly, what league should we be sitting in for these? If I pull this sheet right down here, this is directly off the wiki page right here. We can see in Bronze League, we're receiving 0 ores, pretty much 125 ores for our star bonus every single day. So right away, this is for pretty much every single player. And this is why I think the ore system is really, really cool. There really wasn't that much of an incentive to push in trophies, even as a lower level players, because you're really only getting hampered by the amount of loot you're finding, the amount of overall resources. That's not really the case anymore. I would say, obviously, push up as high as possible. And I'm going to say, for me, personally, I would sit right in Titan League 1 if you can make it to that point. You are going to find not as much loot up there, per se, as if you were sitting in Masters League or Crystal League or Champions League just farming. But it might just take a couple extra clicks. You know, you're a couple clicks away from hitting big. So I personally like sitting in Titans League. You're like, why not Legends League? You're losing out on 75 shiny ores per day and 4 glowy ores per day. That adds up over an entire week, over a month, over a year, right? You're losing out on quite a bit overall. And yes, that is the case. But I think what you're mainly losing out on, personally, is loot. And if you wanted the best of both worlds in the sense of, hey, Jacob, I attack more than 8 times per day, perfect. Go sit in Titans League. You're still going to receive so much more loot overall than you were if you were farming in Masters League or Crystal League loot per se, as in the ores, right? But if you're a player that, hey, doesn't really need any loot, you're pretty much max on everything but equipment, go to Legends League, right? Or you frankly don't attack more than eight times per day. You can go to Legends League and just farm up your ores. Because again, like I said, over an entire month, I haven't done the math here, but let's just do, say it's a 30-day month. So 75 times 30, your additional 2,250 ores per month, which is basically another upgrade there. Or times that times a year, 27,000 ores per year. And as we saw, a common equipment to 18 is 26,140. So that's just one additional equipment piece that you'll be able to max per year if you are sitting in Legends League. But that's the exact same premise if we were in Titans League 2 versus Titans League 1. You're missing out on the same 75 ores per day. So that's why really I'm urging most people to push up in trophies. You're going to find some mismatches, but I don't think you're going to regret it in the long term, especially if we keep introducing these more equipments that cost ores. and finally, what is the other way we can unlock ores? Well, right here in War, right? So frankly, that's why rushing has become OP, because say if I'm a rush Town Hall 15 and my mirror is a 15, well, there's more maximum ores overall. So I'm going to be making more ores than my Town Hall 8 or Town Hall 9 counterpart. That's why I started the Rush to Max series overall. This isn't as important, other than I would say, hey, make sure you are warring every single day. And it's also important to note that these numbers are doubled, right, at the end of the war, because if you're attacking 2 Town Hall 13s, you're going to get 1,420 shiny ores. You're going to get 60 glowy ores. This adds up, but it only adds up if you are warring constantly. And I think eventually they will introduce more ways to earn these ores. But for me, guys, I think, as you see, practice what you preach. I am sitting in Titans League 1 because, well, I sometimes attack more than 8 times per day if I have a training potion active. Because, hey, my base is not max. I'm still working on all these upgrades. But at the same time, I don't want to fall too far behind farming while getting these hero equipment levels up. But again, tell me what your guys' thoughts are in the comments section. Where do you guys mainly sit for ores versus loot? I'm mainly, because I think loot is never going to be the bottleneck. It's always going to be either time or these ores at this point, where I'm going to focus more of my attention and my trophy range that I care about based on these ores overall. But again, I have been Jabe as always. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.